Hey everyone, it's attorney Bianca Jordan from Brazen Legal. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. So today's video is to just answer a couple questions that I've been getting. I had a TPS workshop last week, and I've had quite a few consultations with people in the last week and a half about TPS and their status, and I've been getting a lot of the same questions over and over again. So I wanted to hop on, do a really quick video just to answer the top 3 questions that I've been getting the most since the end of my TPS webinar last week. So the first question is about work cards, especially for people who are from El Salvador, Nicaragua, Sudan, and Haiti, because TPS for those countries ends on January 4th, 2021, which is right around the corner. And for those of you who may not know, there's a court in California. There was a case that was pending in California that the judges in that case decided that the Trump administration can go ahead and terminate TPS for these countries. I did a video on that if you want to learn more about what that case was about. But over the past couple of years, as we know, the Trump administration has been trying to end TPS for a whole bunch of countries, pretty much all of the countries. Right now, we have 10 countries that have TPS. And the Trump administration has been working to terminate TPS for all of these countries. And there has been a lot of litigation back and forth to try to save TPS for these countries. So last month, there was a decision in one of those cases, and the court decided that the Trump administration can go ahead and terminate TPS for Haiti, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Sudan. So their TPS was scheduled to end on January 4th, 2021, which means their work cards were only valid for until January 4th, 2021. But even though that decision in that case was made, the fight is not over yet, because the losing side can petition for a rehearing of the case, and they can also petition the Supreme Court to hear the case. And I wouldn't be surprised if TPS somehow or eventually ends up at the Supreme Court, because there are so many different takes on TPS. There are so many different policies when it comes to TPS. There are some parts in the country where simply having TPS counts as a status, which means that if you live in one of those states, you can just go ahead and apply for TPS, provided that you're otherwise admissible, meaning you don't have anything else that would be keeping you from being able to adjust your status to get a green card. But there's just so much that's different about how TPS is treated depending on where you live. So I really wouldn't be surprised if TPS does end up at the Supreme Court at some point in the future. But because the litigation is ongoing, because the losing side can do a petition for rehearing and or petition the Supreme Court to hear the case, it's not over yet. And until it's finally over, TPS for these countries is still ongoing. So that brings me to, the original question, what's going to happen with the work cards. So as long as TPS is still as long as it's still intact, meaning that the government does not have the clear go-ahead to finally terminate TPS for all of these countries, then that means the work authorization will continue as well. Typically, the government is supposed to issue a new federal register between, I think, either 60 days or 45 days before the termination. So we should know something, we should have something by the end of November. And if and when that new federal register comes out, I'll definitely hop on to a video, let you guys know, because you're going to need it so that if you're working, you can show your employer that your TPS status has been extended, and this is when your work card expires now. And it'll also include instructions as to whether or not you're going to need to reapply for a work card, or if they're just going to auto extend it so that you still have the last, so that you have a card with the date of the last expiration on it. We don't really know yet, but again, we should know by the end of November. And if and when I find out, I will let you guys know. The second most popular question that I got after the work card question is about traveling on advance parole. So there are a lot of people that were in the country undocumented who either they came to the country undocumented or they came to the country legally before they got TPS. But specifically for the people that came to the country undocumented, these people, a lot of them came here undocumented. Maybe they were kids and their parents brought them over, and then TPS for their country became available and they applied for TPS. And then maybe they fell in love with an American citizen and got married, and now they want to get a green card. those people typically won't be able to get a green card in the United States because they came here undocumented. If you come here undocumented, you cannot adjust your status, which means you cannot get the green card here because you did not have a lawful entry. But what TPS did was it allowed people to apply for advance parole, which is a travel document that lets you come and go from the United States. And when you come back to the United States, it counts as a lawful entry. So now you're able to adjust your status. So there are a lot of people that came here undocumented, for decades before TPS was here. And then they got TPS, they traveled on advance parole. Now they can adjust their status. And that was the case until August 20th, when a court decided that if you come here undocumented and you get TPS and you travel on advance parole, when you come back, that does not count as a lawful entry, which means that you cannot adjust your status. This only applies to people with TPS, and it only applies to people that have TPS that are traveling on advance parole for the first time out of after August 20th, 2020. So if you have TPS, if you came here undocumented in the 90s and you got TPS in 2010 and you traveled on advance parole in 2012, you're fine. If you traveled on advance parole in 2012 and then in September 2020, you're fine. As long as one of your trips happened before August 20th, 2020, you're fine. You can still adjust, and this does not affect people that have DACA. The last question that I got a couple times is, can people with TPS still go ahead and apply for a green card? So the answer is yes. If you have TPS and you qualify for a green card, if you qualify to adjust your status through a US citizen or a child who's a US citizen and over the age of 21, you definitely qualify to get a green card. And I would advise that you get on that now. And the reason being is because, for one, there really is no time like the present. The filing fees are supposed to go up October 2nd, but they're currently on hold. Does not mean that they're never going to go up. The last time USCIS raised their prices was in December of 2016. So they're pretty ripe to, it's about time for them to raise them again. But because of the ongoing litigation, they're currently on hold. But I believe that they will eventually be able to raise their rates. So you want to get that application in now while the fees are at least still a little bit more manageable. And then you also want to get your application in now because it seems like almost every other week something is changing with immigration law and policy, and it's not pretty. It's not getting better. All of these changes that are happening every week, every other week, and so forth, things are getting worse and worse. Things are getting harder and more complicated for your case, which means that it's going to be a longer wait possibly. It means that it's going to be more expensive possibly because there's more work involved now for lawyers. And, the margin of error is even smaller because we really cannot afford to make any mistakes on our cases anymore. So things are just getting harder and harder. And there are some laws and policies and litigation that's ongoing, especially as it relates to people with TPS, that could potentially in the future either cause USCIS to stop processing applications for green cards for people that have TPS, or at a minimum purposely delay them until some unknown time in the future. So you really want to get a start on your applications. Please do not wait any longer. If you qualify for a green card, meaning you came here lawfully, you're married to a US citizen, or you have a son or daughter who is 21 or older and is a US citizen, or you have a parent that can petition for you and you are, under 21, not married, definitely start that process, because if you're here, you can still apply for your green card. You're not subject to the current executive order that's going on right now. So definitely get that process going. Even if you can't get your green card here, if you can't even get your green card anytime soon, start that process. Get that I-130 filed anyway, because again, it is like an insurance policy for your case. So definitely get started. Don't keep waiting on your case. I hope you found this video helpful. Please visit brazenlegal.com to learn more about me and my law firm and how we help people along their immigration journeys. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching.